Dire team ban. Dire team ban.
Hey guys, welcome to Galactic Cast, I guess. This is 82L Season 9, Starter League, Planets versus We Make Bad Decisions. So, looks like Planets will have the first pick here on the Dire, and they'll go ahead and grab Dazzle first pick. He's a pretty strong support right now, heals the Grave, but most importantly is that armor. Ridiculous amounts of armor.
Radiant team pick.
Looks like Bad Decisions is going to go ahead and grab the Gyro Disruptor. It's actually a pretty good combo. If you can get people inside that kinetic field, you already get a bunch of damage with the Gyro or the Disruptor ult, put the Gyro in there. Not only makes the kinetic field easier to hit because it slows them all down, but also adds in quite a bit of damage.
Lion.
Second support picked up for Planets. It's going to be Lion. I usually dislike picking both supports right off the bat like that because it leaves you a little bit inflexible. You can always tailor your cores to the enemy team, but that's usually you want to tailor your supports to the enemy team, you know, picking up team fight or ganks or defensiveness based on what they pick up versus tailoring your cores to that kind of makes you play a certain way. But it can certainly be good if you get two really high tier supports. Next banning phase, we'll see both Lina and Slardar banned out, two pretty popular heroes, although Lina a little bit less so recently. Omni Knight also being banned out. And the Witch Doctor to boot, a little bit questionable ban there. They already had the Lion and the Dazzle. Probably didn't need to ban another support. Tusk grabbed for Bad Decisions. Tusk is pretty popular right now. Lots of damage. Shards and Snowball are both really good. He also adds a little bit of tank to the team, which is going to be good. That might actually end up being a support Tusk, which has gained some popularity recently. In that case, you've got a nice and tanky support that's also able to dish out some damage.
5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Third pick is taking a little while here for Planets. This is where they have to grab their first core. Phantom Lancer, questionable against the Gyrocopter, but a relatively good carry overall. Earthshaker is of course banned out. Ember is not, and there it is. Yeah, they're really hard banning that PL. Yeah, picking your supports first also means that you have to pick your cores into, or you'd think that essentially picking your supports first would mean that you get to pick the cores later, but a lot of times it can put a lot of pressure on you because then you have to pick a core versus using a support to stall. It's also really useful to use your first pick, or one of your first picks at least, for a core that you know you want to avoid the second banning stage. So perhaps they could have grabbed the Slardar if they wanted it, instead of grabbing something like the Lion. And that way they can use their support pick on the third one, where it's not really risky to play something and then risk immediately getting counterpicked like they just did. So suffering a little bit, but also, I don't know, PL just seems like the kind of hero that you don't want to pick third. Seems like the kind of hero that you want to pick fifth, especially since they've got that last pick. Wraith King being picked up. That raises some questions in terms of what the lanes are going to be. But Wraith King is pretty solid. I think putting him as a carry is a little bit greedy because he can tend to get either countered or do pretty poorly and end up being not that high impact. But putting him on like a 2 or a 3 farm slot can be pretty useful because he'll always have a relatively high impact because of his 2 live. And if he does go crazy on a 2 or 3 farm slot, then he'll end up being really good. Also tanky, even if it ends up being a support, although I don't think we'll see that happen. Tanky supports with reliable stuns are always good.
Remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Last band phase, we're looking at Undying and TA both banned up. Those are both pretty solid bans. I'm actually surprised we didn't see them earlier. Darkseer grabbed up for bad decisions. Here's going to be really great for their already pretty massive teamfight combo. And they are looking at a double melee core so far, so it's not going to be hard to get him in a lane versus a melee. He's also fairly tanky and builds mech really fast. And with that pickup, it's definitely going to be a Tusk support as well for bad decisions. So I think the lanes are pretty obvious for the Radiant here. We're going to have Ember mid, Gyro safe lane, probably also with a Disruptor and a Tusk in the lane, although the Tusk is probably going to roam a little bit with a Darkseer off lane. And they might go offensive trying or mix the lane around, depending on where Planet sends their carry or where they have their heroes, but that's pretty much going to be the name of the game. So far it looks like Planets needs a mid hero. I don't think you want to go... Yeah, you want to go ranged up against the Ember Spirit. So they'll pick Shadow Fiend. And it's looking like it's going to be Shadow Fiend mid. Probably... I don't know. PL or Wraith King could go off lane potentially. PL, of course, with a very nice Doppelwalk escape, but Wraith King with a bit more tank. And lifesteal to boot, and of course with Dazzle and Lion supports. Alright, we're going to move straight into the introductions here. And on the Radiant, we have We Make Bad Decisions, who's captained by Kip on the Tusk, Sam on the Darkseer, Arrow on the mid Ember Spirit, Broden on the support the support Disruptor, and finally Papa on the carry Gyro. Looks like they're going to go for... I see a smoke on the Tusk here. Looks like they're going to go for a little bit of a gankaroo. On the Dire, we have Hiki, with Team Planets, we have Hiki on, looks like a carry PL. And unfortunately, DC'd Pule Su on the Shadow Fiend mid. Fire LX on the Dazzle, hard support. Captain Badass on the 4-slot Lion, and finally Gwendril on the... I think it's going to be an off-lane-ish Wraith King. They might do duels. Yeah, the Stout Shield extra salve build makes me think it's definitely an off-lane... It's probably not a carry Wraith King versus the... Well, there's not a whole lot of difference there, is there? I guess we'll find out.
Bless your soul.
Looks like the smoke gank here is not going to mean anything. They are all squarely bottom. little bit questionable. Usually you want to go to the lane where your safe laner is going to be. So generally, Radiant will kind of want to go bottom, and Dire will kind of go top. Just because you're much closer, you don't have to spend so much time walking, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, at this point, they've realized that they're probably not at the rune, and they're going to probably just... Yeah, they're just going to grab the rune and back. Definitely looking at Shadow Fiend and Ember Spirit getting these runes here.
Remember sportsmanship.
Never let him school given.
Yep, looks like we've got the Wraith King down here in this bottom lane. Depending on how many heroes they put in here, that's going to be a difficult lane for him with the... I guess that's all 3 ranged heroes, or not all 3. You've got 2 ranged heroes and a Tusk. Lots of initiation, lots of stuns there. It's really easy to hit snowball kinetic fields, so potentially pretty hazardous for him. But he will have a Dazzle in his lane as well. But he actually grabbed Shadow Wave right off the bat. I usually like to save my point on Dazzle. Sometimes you need the heals, sometimes you really need that level 1 Graves. That could potentially be a mistake, but this ward will spot out a gank attempt right now. Yeah, it's still going to be a relatively tough lane for the Dire, I think. Top lane is going to be solo Darkseer up against that PL, but he'll have a Lion to help harass out of the way. Unfortunately for Lion, Darkseer hits much harder level 1, and he also has this Stout Shield. Probably really important lane is going to be mid. Both of these mids need a lot of farm to be able to turn on, and so if one of them could get a severe advantage over the other one, it's going to be pretty big for later on in the game. So let's go ahead and take a look at the CS. Right now, number 1 is Arrow on the on that Ember Spirit mid. He's actually beating at the Shadow Fiend pretty seriously there. It's 6-3 now, and also tied is the Sam on the Darkseer top. That's pretty good. Peel's only got 1 so far, and that's the power of that Ion Shell. Just so hard to last hit in the lane when you got the creeps doing shitloads of magic damage to you.
No. Too slow.
Good lane control by the Radiant side there. No camp's blocked. The camp is blocked here for that Darkseer though. That's going to be nice. And there's a regen rune bottom. My guess is that Kip is going to go spot that. But the absence of Tusk has made the Wraith King a little bit more ballsy.
Regeneration.
Yeah, indeed he did. Mid lane, little bit of contact here. Nobody dies, but quite a bit of damage going the way of that Ember Spirit. Tusk actually moves into position a little bit here. Let's check the vision out. Unless the game doesn't want me to check the vision out. Yeah, he clearly just came within vision there. That's a really, really hard side to gank, even as a Tusk. Unless you're invisible, this like the range of the tower right here to detect. Even then, even if you're invisible, the range of the tower goes well, like yeah, all the way out to here. It's really hard to get a gank on from this side. This side is much more doable because you've got this high ground here that you can use, and also just because you don't have to deal with the tower in your way. Whereas here, the tower starts shooting you the instant you get close to that lane. And again, I think we've seen Gyro games with Papa before with that early homing missile, and I really disagree with it. But I guess if he continues to grab it, it's working apparently. I don't know. It just seems like a waste of mana. Looks like the CS leaders are still that the Ember Spirit and the Darkseer up here. Both doing pretty well, although Polisu has caught up a little bit up with the Shadow Fiend since he's got some of his souls up and running. Yeah, he's about par. I'm actually relatively surprised that we haven't seen any kills down here yet. Obviously, Dazzle reaching level 2, Shallow Grave makes that a little bit harder. But there's still a lot of potential for, honestly, both teams to go on. The Disruptor is really squishy, and with the Grave and heals, it wouldn't be too hard for the Dire to grab a kill.
Tally ho!
But we'll see if the haste on this Tusk will result in anything. They did see him grab it, though. Let's do that word right there. Pause coming out from the Radiant here. And it looks like the gyrocopter is lagging. Interesting, it looks like Lion has gone ahead and grabbed a Mana Drain level 1. I like Mana Drain level 1, or a single level of Mana Drain early. Obviously, you need it for, you know, getting mana from the creeps. But against a Darkseer, it's probably not going to be that great because you need that Hex to stop him from casting Surge. You need the stuns, but perhaps he said, we're not going to kill him, forget it. I just want my mana. Tusk here again with that haste, just now fading. Fortunately wasn't able to make much use of that. Yep, unfortunately for the Wraith King and Dazzle here, they've got almost no CS in this lane. It's, like I said, it's going to be a pretty tough lane for them. And I've noticed some denies, and of course they have gotten a few, but against the multiple ranged, and with the threat of getting absolutely murdered, they have to play pretty safe. Right, reaching about the 5-minute mark here, and looks like the Bad Decisions team has garnered about a 1k gold difference here. Standard CS stuff. But that's also actually, and I'm sorry guys I missed it, but bottom lane I was just mentioning how dangerous it was to get out of position there, and sure enough the Dazzle bites the dust. And that first blood actually did manage to go the way of the gyro. And I think actually the rocket was what finished him off, so maybe that's the key ingredient there was level 1 rocket. Oh, also looks like they've just barely managed to miss another kinetic field on the Wraith King. Dazzle will TP back in, of course. Disruptor being gone pretty hard. But that Wraith King cannot stand up to the rocket barrage, which is just ridiculous amounts of magic damage.
Deceptive rune of invisibility.
Mid lane, Arrow on that Ember Spirit has managed to grab an Invis rune, but I think, yeah, they definitely saw that happen, so the Shadow Fiend's going to have to get back. And as of right now, the Shadow Fiend has actually passed the Ember by a few CS here. Not really much happening with his Invis rune. It's going to be really hard for Ember to kill Shadow Fiend unless he can get use all 3 of his Fire Remnants and just burst him down. But that's going to be pretty hard to do because Shadow Fiend moves fairly quickly. He has invested in boots. And of course, Ember is pretty squishy, so if he has to dive that tower, he's probably going to go down as well. So we've got lots of stacks on this camp here. That's going to be really good for the gyro to clear. He has grabbed Flat Cannon level 1, which is good. He'll be able to clear the stacks pretty easily. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen any rotations from Lion to stack the jungle here. The Shadow Fiend could really make use of it, and the Lion isn't doing a whole lot in the lane. Oh.
Enjoy your nap!
And Dazzle gets killed again. He didn't actually get to grave there. That's pretty tough. Must have been stunned out by the snowball. And probably the rocket is. Yeah, like I was saying, the Lion probably isn't doing a whole lot in the game in the lane here. He could potentially protect the PL from dying from Darkseer, but with Doppelganger, the PL is not going to die to Darkseer. So it seems like he could probably be of way better use in the lane. Although an early 6 on the Lion could lead to a gank middle or something. Haste rune for the Shadow Fiend. He'll pop it for the mana, go grab the bottom rune. And now as we're reaching 8 minutes, the first set of wards are expiring. He'll also manage to grab that bounty rune. And that's a very dangerous place for the Tusk to be, and he'll get raised up and dead. We do have a glimpse available on the Disruptor, but damn, that Shadow Fiend hits hard. Rocket comes out. Looks like the Ember Spirit is here as well. The Darkseer's managed to teleport here too. Really good in with the shackles. He's arrow taking a lot of damage here. He'll go down, but so will the Wraith King.
You remind me of my old boss.
Teleport's coming in. There's the Tusk again. The Lion is here as well. Good glimpse back. Dazzle pops the grave pretty early, but he'll be okay with that TP. Snowball in on the Lion. Oh, that's very, very dead Lion, who's just shy of level 6. Overall, I believe this is 2 for 2. And unfortunately, didn't count the entire fight for us, but probably went about even. Let's see what the gold graph has to say. Yeah, because the rating was a little bit up there, and ends up being roughly a wash, with a slight favor for the Dire there.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And of course, also the Shadow Fiend grabbing one of those kills got him quite a bit of gold. Yeah, he stands a full 1,400 gold ahead of the Ember Spirit now after that kill. Oh wow, look at that. So close. Very, very unfortunate for the Dazzle. And some fighting over 10-minute rune. Shadow Fiend's headed down there though. And he's actually managed to finish up his mech just now. Also, the Darkseer being gone from top has eased a little bit of the pressure off the PL, and he's getting caught up. He's not fully caught up, but it looks like an Ember Spirit is headed in to maybe try and get a gank here. That's a hard hero to gank though, without a lot of dedicated.
Middle tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yep, there's that mechanism for the Shadow Fiend really early at 10 minutes. That's going to be really strong for any kind of early game team fights that happen, or any kind of pushes that they want to try and pull off on the Dire.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Speaking of pushes, looks like they'll get quite a bit of damage on that T1 mid. Bottom lane, Wraith King a little bit out of position. They do have a glimpse. He'll get stuck inside the field. The Disruptor also being stunned up, but the Snowball goes in. Heavy Rocket Barrage. Gyro ult coming down. Lion will TP in, but the Wraith King will be okay. Looks like Shadow Fiend did TP here as well. Mostly a wash. Both teams sending people back. Oh, but the salve will actually allow Wraith King to stay inside the lane. Top lane, meanwhile, Lion TPs, uses that level 6, grabs that Darkseer.
Here you die.
Level 1 Lion ult, level 1 Lion ult, very, very powerful. It does way more damage than even Lena's ult. But of course, the cooldown is way longer.
Zap.
Taking a look at the net worth now. Yeah, the Shadow Fiend has certainly taken off quite a bit from where he was earlier in the mid lane, and the PL has managed to catch up to the Ember now, but the Gyro is still sitting pretty far ahead of the PL here. Ultimately, I don't think PL is going to have that much of an impact on the game because of how countered he is. As soon as Ember Spirit gets a Battle Fury, and even then with the Gyro Flak Cannon, it's going to be hard for PL to really go crazy. I think it's going to be a lot in the Shadow Fiend, and of course if the Wraith King can start to turn on, it's going to be where a lot of the damage is coming from for the Dire. Shadow Fiend actually electing to walk back to base to get some mana. Kind of questionable there. I guess he wants to save the DD, but he wastes a lot of time in CS doing that.
Dark light. This ain't yours.
It looks like both of the supports for the Radiant have actually left the Gyro alone. He's doing okay by himself, and I don't think the other supports have realized, but it looks like something is about to go on mid. We got Dazzle TPing in. Lion ult ready in 60 seconds. DD popped by the Shadow Fiend. Both the supports move in. Arrow just senses something, and he backs away there. They just wanted to push and get that T1. It's a good play. That'll reduce momentum, or a lot of mobility for the Radiant there. With the DD, looks like they're going for the Roche Pit. They don't have a medallion. They could just be ganking the Gyro bottom, I think. Also, no vision means that they do not see this happening. Oh yeah, they're ganking Gyro pretty damn hard. No pings. That is a very dead gyro. And there's the stun. And comes the Lion, who's also going to stun him up.
Dire's middle tower
And
is
DD
under
Shadow
attack.
Fiend, yeah, way too late on the
Radiant's top
response
tower is
there.
under attack.
I guess maybe I didn't catch it, but they did have a sentry ward. They might have dewarded that. Unfortunately for the Tusk, he also did TP in, but juke through the trees and he'll be okay. Top actually looks like they're trying to go on this PL here, but he'll be
Radiant's
okay.
bottom tower is
Not
under
pretty low
attack.
though. Unfortunately, missed Disruptor ult.
Dire's middle tower is under
And they're
attack.
sieging bottom tower. This is where that mechanism really comes in handy. Not only the activated mechanism, but the passive can also just do a lot of work. Keeping your creeps alive, keeping your heroes alive. Mango popped by Kip here, just trying to get away from the Raid King, who's got a stun, and he's... Wow, really good timing on that snowball there. And he'll manage to get away after almost got critted. Of course, the tower will fall here. So it's another tower claimed for the Dire. But in the meantime, Arrow did manage to push down the T1 mid tower against the Dire. Gold graph, pretty massive swing there from about 1700 to 500 in favor of the Dire there. That's a pretty big gold swing. All those towers taken and the kill on the gyro, both pretty big in net worth there. It looks like the PL will be heading straight for a Yasha, actually, not going for Diffusal Blade. I usually, well, obviously Diffusal Blade is one of the best items on PL, even against like the heroes that he is up against, especially against Ember. If Ember doesn't have mana, he can't kill you. And even with a level 1 Battle Fury, or even with a Battle Fury and quite a bit of damage, an Ember without his abilities is not an Ember that can kill a PL. So Diffusal Blade is almost always the preferred item build, especially against heroes that are mana dependent. And unfortunately for Raid King, he did TP right in front of that Disruptor. He gets sent back. Lion moves in. He's moving really fast with those Tranquil Boots onto the very unfortunate Disruptor, who's going to get stunned up and won't get his ult off, unfortunately. Dazzle's also here. He'll be able to grave up that Lion. Gyro ult's dropped. Pia will juke out, but he's still taking quite a bit of damage from that ult. And he will get bursted down by the Fire Remnants there. Also Dazzle, while being dropped, gets hit by the Iron Shell. Shadow Fiend ult being used. And the Lion, of course, finishing him off with that ult available again. Overall, 2 for 2. Net positive of about 200 gold for the Dire there. Although, a lot of that money did come from their carry there, PL dying. He did manage to grab his Yasha before he died, though. And they're also going to grab another tower from this. Doesn't look like a fort's going to come out anytime. Oh, there's the Fortify. Good kinetic field, catches that Wraith King out of position. Disruptor ult lands, doing quite a bit of damage, but he's got his ult ready. Tower goes down. Shadow Fiend's getting pretty low, and it looks like they will actually re-engage here. Gyro going pretty hard. He has his ult in 3 seconds, but he's getting really low. Magic Stick back up. Gyro ult is available. Unfortunately, Fire Remnants missed quite a few heroes. Gyro ult is laid down again. Ember Spirit going down to the raises there. Gyro ult doing quite a bit of damage as well. PL going hard, grabbing the Tusk too. That's 2 for none. And a really split up engagement. But it looks like I don't quite want to re-engage. That's quite a bit of gold. Another, something like 1,300 gold going the way of the Dire there as well. Even more if you consider the tower too. So that's going to be a pretty big gold drop. Yeah, in fact, if you look at the net worth, it looks like the Shadow Fiend is a good 2k gold ahead of the next cores. PL still not doing incredibly well comparatively, though. They're about on par. That Shadow Fiend's starting to do pretty well, and he's almost to his BKB, actually. That's going to be pretty big, too. A lot of the damage they've got on the Radiant is magic damage. No more Vacuum, no more Disruptor ults, no more Gyro ult damage, that kind of stuff. Pretty nasty. When you consider they won't be able to get that kind of stuff off. I think the main issue in that fight, I think the Radiant probably could have won it, but they used the wall a little bit earlier. They used the wall up here. So they didn't have the vac wall that they needed. The Disruptor, I believe he got killed earlier on in the fight, unfortunately. So that was no Disruptor ult there. So they managed to pick off some of their team fighting heroes, and they didn't have all of their ults. And the Dire certainly has a much better long-term team fight oriented team.
Dire's top tower has been denied.
Top tower being denied by the Dazzle here.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Bottom tower is being sieged by the Radiant here, but it looks like the Dire want to defend this. Shadow Fiend is hasted up. Arrow sensing something with that lion moving in. They'll remnant back. Tower getting pretty low, but not quite within deny range. And it looks like both teams are funneling both of their guys here. All ults are available except for that Wraith King ult, which was pretty critical in the last fight for slowing everybody down, using up a lot of their abilities. Oh, that's right. Last fight, actually, Disruptor ult was used to kill the Wraith King the first time. No BKB yet for that for the Shadow Fiend, though. We've got a Radiant Ward here, so they know that the rest of their team is there. So they're going to go ahead and back off and get a bit more farm on their cores. And Jero finishing up a Sanj now. Definitely going to be turned into a Sanj and Yasha later. Arcane Boots for most of the supports, I believe. Unfortunately, Tusk is not doing quite so hot on the money. 4 staff being grabbed by the Lion. That's pretty early. Pretty good too. Although I do prefer Blink for sure on Lions. You need to be able to get quite a bit of distance into the stuns. Blink Dagger on the Wraith King, also really good. He's, like I said, he's got a really reliable stun. If he can get right in front of the enemy, make them kill him, it can be a really good initiation tactic. Yasha being grabbed for the Phantom Lancer here. It's going to be turned into a Manta eventually, but it looks like he's probably going to want to go for that Diffusal Blade now. BKB recipe and a DD grabbed it for the Shadow Fiend now. It's on the way in the courier. That's going to be pretty big. Like I said, that stops a lot of the team fight that the Radiant have. But they do have quite a bit of physical as well. The Gyro certainly is going to put out quite a bit of physical along with the Ember Spirit. But we'll see if they can take him down with that BKB on. Oh, looks like the Darkseer's also managed to grab a mechanism as well. That's pretty important. He's got quite a bit of gold saved up, so we'll see if he's going to turn that into Greaves or if he's going to make that into a Blink Dagger. Both pretty good. Now that both teams have a mechanism, it's not going to be as high impact as it was. Obviously, the mechanism did a lot of work for them in the past few team fights. The smoke being brought out to the Dazzle here. They're going to try and smoke ink. And here comes Lion first. Of course, he's got that 4 staff for a little bit of movement. Actually, both teams end up smoking up here. And they'll mostly miss each other. It looks like the Tusk is going to pop first, but so does the rest of the enemy team. Here goes the Disruptor ult down on 2, grabs Kinetic Field in there as well. BKB pop for the Shadow Fiend. Tusk goes straight in. Requiem of Souls doing quite a bit of damage. Gerald going down Darkseer Wall, actually only grabbing 1 illusion here. But the Wraith King ult is ready as well. Shadow Fiend glimpsed back after that. BKB is now done. He's stuck inside the kinetic field and doing ridiculous amounts of damage with that Dazzle armor on. And that one Shadow Fiend illusion is doing so much damage as well. So mostly a wash there, but it'll be 2 for 1 for the Radiant. And, well, actually that's about 1k gold swing. That's pretty good.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
No massive losses, though. I was actually a pretty good play by the Disruptor there. He managed to see that the team fight was happening, get that Disruptor ult off, and it stopped a lot of the nasty stuff from happening. I think it was actually the PL and the Lion that got stuck in there. Those are the ones that ended up dying. And back to farming it is. Yeah, both of these teams certainly have lots of late game contingencies, so we haven't been seeing a whole lot of fighting, and we probably won't see a whole lot of fighting until it gets quite a bit later. And if we're lucky, both of them will farm about equally as they have been, and we'll end up seeing a pretty good game. Yep, right down the line after that team fight, it's just about almost not even positive 500 for the Radiant there. It is noteworthy, however, that the Shadow Fiend did manage to keep his 2k gold lead. The big difference now is that you've got 3 cores, each over 1,000 more gold than the next leading core on the Dire.
Zap.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Shadow Wave.
has been denied.
Can you guys hear this? Does the game still have sound? Actually, looks like we're gonna have team fight breakout here. PL gone straight onto. He'll get stuck with the disruptor ult. That's also taking a lot of damage in there, but he'll go down to the gyro ult there. Mechanism used with the darks here. Ember Spirit will go down on the sidelines here. Wraith King still no ult, getting mech'd up. And once again, it's another 2-for-1. The PL going down. PL and Dazzle this time for the Ember Spirit there. Another pretty good team fight, but Shadow Fiend once again increasing his gold lead pretty significantly. Smoke gang for the Radiant here. And they're going to run into a Lion and a Wraith King here, who still does not have his ult. And he's going to get stunned up by that snowball, and he'll go down to the gyro. A little bit out of position there, especially without much vision. This was a little bit questionable positioning there from the Lion as well. I'm surprised they didn't notice the Lion and go for him too. But yeah, the Wraith King unfortunately really close to that level 11, which he needs to grab before he dies again. Looks like the Shadow Fiend is going to go ahead and turn quite a bit of his money into a Helm of Dom. No doubt we're going to see that turn into a Satanic later, but the Lifesteal is certainly going to be very useful for him now, along with the damage, the armor, the tankiness that comes with it. Ember Spirit a little bit out of position here, but he sees the Shadow Fiend and will back immediately. And I think the point booster here on the Disruptor is actually going to turn into an Aghanim Scepter. It's not a very common item for Disruptor. It's pretty good because it prevents item use within his ult, which is obviously really good for preventing things like BKBs and Force Staffs, all that kind of stuff. But it is pretty expensive to build. I believe it adds a little bit of damage, but it's a pretty expensive item for a 5-slot Disruptor to buy. Looks like Gyro has also managed to finish up his Dom along with the Sanjin Yasha as well. Tusk managing to grab up his Arcane Boots, still pretty poor though. And of course the first Battle Fury done for the Ember Spirit here. He also has something coming to him on the courier. It is Boots of Travel. That's also a pretty important item for him. PL almost to that Diffusal Blade, but struggling to get there.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Darkseer actually did manage to go for that Blink Dagger instead of the Greaves. That's a pretty good move. The Greaves are nice. I guess they mainly free up an item slot, and the Purge is also pretty good. Since there's not a whole lot of negative debuffs to Purge, I think Blink is probably the better idea. And of course you can still go Greaves later. Looks like Invis Rune on that Shadow Fiend there is being used.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Actually, almost the entire Dire team is in the Radiant jungle here. Just managing to farm up a little bit. Radiant supports tentatively checking out their jungle, but I'll TP away to go farm other lanes. And it looks like PL has managed to finish his Diffusal Blade. That's going to be a pretty big item, especially against heroes like Ember Spirit, who really need that mana to be able to get away, to be able to use their abilities to do a lot of the damage that would be effective against the PL. But we'll see. We'll see if it's enough. Now he needs to get tanky. He doesn't even have 1000 HP. If the Ember Spirit manages to catch him with more than a couple of his illusions, along with another hero or two in there, it's going to do a lot of damage. But this game has mostly seen PL getting caught out by the Disruptor ult. Of course, the silence preventing the Doppelganger and the escape away. It actually looks like the Greaves have been picked up by the Darkseer here. Smoke Ink actually by the Radiant here. I'm going to try and get that sound fixed when there's not something exciting happening, but this might just be a Roshan smoke, so they go in and check. They're not going to do it. No Medallion on the Tusk would make it pretty hard. And they might translate this into a jungle gank, maybe? Smoke doesn't have too much longer to last, but they could find the Shadow Fiend if they look for it. Ember Spirit was never in the smoke in the first place. And they'll just barely miss that Shadow Fiend. Smoke is popping right now. Ember being gone on by the Lion here, being stunned up again. Starting Chicken. Lion ult going down. The Ember will be grabbed. Really good back will grab 2, but of course that Shadow Fiend BKB going in there. Tuskso dying after that really powerful Requiem of Souls there. Gyrocopter also taking quite a bit of damage. Gyrocopter unfortunately also falling. Kinetic Field. And he'll be able to TP away. We're all very unfortunate. Smoke non-gank there. I think the Ember Spirit maybe dove a little bit too deep under the tower. He thought that his team had his back, but the entire enemy team was basically sitting back in these dark bits right here. And that'll probably translate into a mid-push that we're going to see. I would be surprised if they didn't take the tower. With Ember Spirit, 30 seconds along with the gyro. I'm going to try and work on my
Radiant's
sound.
middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Go away!
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Alright, I think I might have the answer. If it starts playing sound, let me know. I'm really sorry, guys. I've never had that issue before.
Shadow Wave!
Sound not playing.
Invisibility!
Actually, now it looks like the Shadow Fiend is going to manage to grab an AC here. It's a little unconventional. Usually you see something like a Daedalus, but the armor is certainly going to be quite useful. And also plate mail for the Wraith King. PL's managed to finish up his Manta here. That's going to be a pretty big item. More illusions. Be able to juke out quite a bit of stuff as well. Any kind of stuns. With Jared getting a little bit closer to his Ags as well. About 2k gold for Darkseer. Nothing too obvious yet. Choices after this, obvious choices are things like Ags, maybe Shivas. Make the wall just that much more powerful. Wow, and a full 4k gold for pump on that gyro there. Just kind of saving it up. And he'll buy BKB straight up. It's a good move, especially against things like Lion. The PL mana drain will be stopped by that. With a Medallion on the Dazzle and a lot of damage on that Shadow Fiend, I would not be surprised at all if we see a Roche within the next 3 or 4 minutes. That's weird. With a pause here, I'm going to go ahead and try and fix the sound a little bit more. Actually, guys, I might... I don't want to turn the stream off and back on again. But that might be what makes it work. That appears to have worked. Yeah, okay, that definitely worked. If you guys can hear me, if you guys are still here, the sound is probably working now. And sure enough, the Roche gets done immediately after we mentioned that. And they are finishing him pretty fast. And it looks like the Radiant does know what's up, but I don't know if they're going to get there in time. They certainly have quite a bit of team fight. Almost there. Roche will go down. Oh wow, the Ice Charge actually manages to cut 3 of them inside the Roche pit with the supports outside. Oh, unfortunately they don't know that, so they're going to go ahead and back out. It's a safe move. And the Aegis will go the way of the Shadow Fiend as well. Yeah, Blink Dagger also being grabbed by the Lion here. Like I said, Blink Dagger is quite a bit better than Force Staff for the Lion. He really needs to be able to initiate with it as opposed to be able to get away. You don't really need both, but both is better than one. I don't know. There are also better items for Lion to get, in my opinion. Make him a little bit more tanky. Ags is always good. Things like Veil also really nice. Or, I mean, for crying out loud, where's your Glimmer Cape? And it looks like the Ember Spirit is going to go ahead and grab a BKB as well. That's going to be pretty good. It's not going to save him from the massive amounts of physical damage that that Shadow Fiend is going to be putting out, especially with the Dazzle armor on. In terms of net worth here, we still have Shadow Fiend with about a 5k net worth lead here. That's huge. So after that 5k net worth, we've got the Ember and the Gyro pretty close together, which are both about 1,000 above the Ember Spirit here, or not the Ember Spirit, the PL. So actually looking at the net worth graph, looks like the Dire has managed to secure about a 2k net worth lead, although that, as you can see, is not necessarily going to be permanent. Very lots of up and down this game.
Dazzle! Wave!
Yeah, even after they took that Roshan, they haven't really done much with it. There's only 2 minutes left of that Aegis. But, that being said, the Shadow Fiend has managed to grab his Satanic now. So, once that Aegis is gone, he'll probably grab something like Daedalus or some kind of damage item, MKB maybe for the Gyro's eventual Butterfly. But he is absolutely knocking this farm out of the park. Let's actually go ahead and take a look at the GPM here. 531, that's pretty good. It's not as good as I thought it would be, actually. But that's still pretty good for a mid-game-ish, moving into late-game Shadow Fiend. And he'll also eventually want to sell that mechanism as well. I doubt he'll be wanting to pick up Greaves, so... either Dazzle will build one, or they'll just go without a mechanism in the late game. But you definitely don't want your mech holder being Shadow Fiend past the 50-minute mark. Looks like the Dire is going to go ahead and gear up for bottom T2 push here. Both sides setting up some wards in advance, but the Radiant does not appear to be in such a good position to be able to defend this. Actually looks like a split push, and they'll successfully get a tower. T2 top, Fortify used for the Radiant there. Gyro ult also being used, it'll kill most of the creeps. Do a little bit of damage. This is risky plays. You don't want to defend this T2. In fact, there goes the line straight onto that gyrocopter there. Take quite a bit of damage, but the back into the kinetic field with the ult on does quite a bit of damage, and it'll drop the line as well. Tusk going straight onto that Dazzle, or the PL actually, who's managed to grave up. Good grave by that Dazzle there. Shadow Fiend standing right on the wall, taking quite a bit of damage, but he does have that Aegis, but not for too much longer. There is Aegis pops, and the Wraith King will just barely make it away with his ult on line. Actually looks like the Ember Spirit managed to return from top. He'll finish off the Wraith King's first life here. Glimpse back into the Shadow Fiend, who will... Actually looks like he's on the outside, but he doesn't care. He's just going to keep hitting people. Wraith King also with that second life up and going. Shadow Fiend's actually taking quite a bit of damage from creeps and that illusion there. Looks like Arrow wants to continue to pursue this, but the rest of his team is kind of low. Glimpse is ready again. Really good back in together. Shackles. They're both taking quite a bit of damage, but there goes the Satanic. Look at that HP. Second Gyro ult being dropped there. Greaves being popped. And he's stuck inside the kinetic field for now. Gyro Rocket will do a little bit of damage, but Gyro's really low. I don't know if they can fight this. Oh man, the damage. Down goes the Gyrocopter, and they're committed. BKB pops for a second time. Oh wow, and he'll... Jeez! Oh wow. Just barely. They both kill each other, but it does look like the Shadow Fiend went down first. That's going to be quite a bit of money. Yeah, that kill alone was worth 2 gold. And it went the way of the Ember mostly. But geez, actually no, that entire fight is what's counted in here. So net 2k gold swing for the Radiant there. That's going to be pretty important. But even then, Shadow Fiend still managed to get 1,000 gold from that fight. It's probably mostly in that gyro kill at the very end. But pretty exciting team fight there. Certainly favoring the Radiant a little bit. They managed to counter the T2 loss there and managed to get quite a bit of gold on their supports. Yeah, looks like the Darkseer's going to be going into the Shiva's guard there with that plate mail. Alright, the stream is back online. Yeah, and with that, I don't know if he just grabbed it or if he's had it for a little while, but Disruptor does have his Aghanim Scepter right now. I've noticed that he's managed to get quite a few ults off on a lot of people, especially with the help of that Darkseer back. But then, of course, the BKBs pop, and now at least that will be prevented. No more BKBs, which could be a really great opportunity to kill the heroes like Shadow Fiend, especially since not only can they not activate things like BKB in it, he also he can't activate his Satanic in there as well. So it gives them a, about a 5-second, or actually it increases the duration as well. Okay. Actually, it looks like it increases the damage by quite a bit. Damage stays the same, but the duration goes up by 2 seconds, and you get quite a few more pulses of the storm damage. So that could potentially be pretty game-winning if they manage to get a pretty big Disruptor Ags ult off on the Shadow Fiend, prevent him from activating Satanic, prevent him from activating BKB, prevent him from activating Mech. But of course you also have to grab the Dazzle in there too. If Dazzle's not inside that Static Storm, he can just grave whoever you're focusing on. Kip on the Tusk here. He's suffered quite a bit in terms of gold for the most of this game. It looks like he's grabbing a Perseverance. I'm not sure what that's going to turn into. I think that could even potentially turn into a Lotus Orb. I'm not sure that's a great item for him, just because it's too expensive. I would have gone something like Medallion early on. Could have been really effective. Reduce some of the armor loss that you feel from the Dazzle, or even just make your physical attacks from Ember a little bit more powerful. Speaking of Ember, he's actually managed to grab his first crit stick now. It's going to make him do quite a bit more damage. Now, because he has opted to go for this BKB, he's actually being gone on, but he'll smell it. Because he's opted to go for the BKB here, he's going to have quite a bit less damage than you'd normally see from late game Ember with like a double Battle Fury or double Daedalus or something, but I think potentially this is just to get him through the mid game. So later on in the game, when the BKB reaches 5 seconds, it's going to be way more worth it to have a damage item like the Battle Fury or another Daedalus. And of course, he could always sell his Ring of Aquila. Lion now looks like he's also going for Axe, but it looks like the Shadow Fiend will get caught up. Wasn't able to pop his Axe until he left the ult there, but it doesn't have a whole lot of impact. He's standing on top of the wall. Wraith King goes in, and they're going to burst down that Tusk there. Darkseer caught a little bit out of position now on the tail end of that fight. Not really using his illusion very much. He's taking quite a bit of damage. Lionel will finish him off, and the Radiant will have to back here. That's Shiva's Guard being showed off by the Wraith King as well there. PL making his way towards Heart now. He's got the Reaver. He needs just about another 1,000 gold and he'll have that Heart. Lion also making his way towards his Aghanims. Oh, and unfortunately Roche is just about to spawn. They've got like maybe 20 seconds, but they just missed it. It's at this point of the game where Shadow Fiend really needs to save for buyback. So he's got a 900 gold surplus. We won't see any major items until he gets that up quite a bit. But he's still farming like mad. It's still good. You know, a good almost 4,000 gold ahead of the next score, Ember. Ember has managed to, with the split push that he's pulling off here, pull a little bit away from the gyro, but he's going to be gone on here by the Wraith King. Only level 15 still. And this is not a good fight for Wraith King, honestly. Arrow's got the creeps there. He does way more damage. And it doesn't look like anybody's on the way. They're actually in the Roach Pit, which they have spotted now, and it looks like the Wraith King is going to get picked off. Oh, he'll have 60 HP. Arrow pulls back because he doesn't want to push the matter. And they're going to grab Roche. Wow. What a close... He could have potentially killed the Wraith King and then just kept pushing. I don't think he would have gotten the tower in time, though. Yeah, that's the good part. When you're up, your supports have money for vision out the wazoo, so you can take advantage of a lot of sentry wards and stuff. Although it does look like the Radiant team had a ward here, and I don't think they smoked. The Aegis is also going the way of the Shadow Fiend this time as well. And first Daedalus picked up by that Ember Spirit, who already had quite a bit of damage. He crits for 854 on those Thunder Hides there. Could potentially be pretty scary if he manages to find a group of PL illusions. Gyro managing to save up 5,000 gold. Don't really know what he's going to be going for. He could potentially build something like a butterfly. He could build also the MKB to counter any kind of butterfly that's going to be built. Another classic is go for his Satanic.
Never refuse gold. Shadow Wave!
Dazzle's also going for a 4-staff now. We see that recipe coming out. Still not sure what that Perseverance is going to build into. And looks like with a little bit of split push and not much care, the Dire's going to lose the T2 bottom. PL has managed to grab his heart, and they're barreling down that top lane. Going to grab that T2. See, I don't think you defend this. Yeah, okay, so a little bit of split push there is going to force the PL to back. It'll make their push a little bit weaker, but I don't think they were going for the T3s anyway.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Darkseer a little bit out of position. If they were to see him right now, that would be very bad. All of them, honestly. They need to be back behind this line. But it looks like the Dare is going to go ahead and back out. Wouldn't be surprised if they tried to smoke here. Yep, and there's the Demon Edge for the Shadow Fiend. They could turn into MKB, could turn into Daedalus, like I said. He's already doing quite a bit of damage, and I think evasion is probably what he needs to be worried about the most, so MKB is probably the name of the game. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen something like a Dezo build on the Wraith King spot here. With that, obviously he's the third core for their team, and something like a Dezo fits really, really well into the lineup there. Even more negative armor, more damage for towers instead of the Shivas. The Shivas is nice, It reduces attack speed, you know, it does a little bit of damage, prevents blinks, that kind of stuff. Also makes the Wraith King a little bit tankier, but it doesn't really do much for his team, and that's...
For the treasury.
He has managed to grab his level 3 ult now, which reduces the cooldown massively. Makes him a lot harder to kill as well. And Demon Edge being picked up by the Gyro too probably means MKB. I doubt it's going to be crits, so... Expect to see MKB Gyro very soon, and he's got the money for it. Looks like he's probably saving for buyback, though. Gyro now looks like he's going for the Veil. It's going to be pretty good. Lots more magic damage to go with his ult there, and the Gyro, and honestly, almost everybody on their team. It's going to be a pretty solid pickup, also makes him a little bit tankier. Right now we're going to see the Radiant side smoke up and run straight into the Dire team. Immediately, look at that damage! Holy crap! All of those creeps there, along with that Battle Fury and the Daedalus, managed to do so much damage. He'll get pulled back in, and Wraith King is finished off. Already it's a 2v5. Dazzle taking way too much damage already. Rave is gone. Requiem is gone. They need to get back right now. BKB is fading. It's already down for the Shadow Fiend here. PL managing to get away a little bit with the Manta there, but the Shadow Fiend will be glimpsed back, walled up, and he's going to take a lot of damage. He still has the Aegis, and he still has a Satanic, but there goes the first life. Wow, really great initiation there. Both teams slammed straight into each other. Satanic is popped. He's taking a lot of damage, though. Back. Stun him up and he'll go down too. That's a huge win for the Radiant there. 0 for 4 along with an Aegis. That's over 2,000 gold there. And most of it went the way of the Ember Spirit. Actually, that was a separate fight. Looks like they got 1,000 gold just for the Shadow Fiend kill there. So that's almost 3,000 gold they got for that. And of course, the Ember Spirit goes straight to split pushing top. Creep Wave is already there, but so is the PL. And he'll be forced to back a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at that gold graph. Yeah, wow. So this is pre-fight right there. About 500 gold advantage for the Radiant. All the way up to more than 3,500 gold. That's ridiculous. No buybacks used yet for the Dire there. Although, if the Radiant pushes hard enough, they're going to have to force a buyback for that... for the Shadow Fiend there. But he's bought a broadsword. Actually, it looks like they are going to push bottom pretty hard. Papa gets going on a little bit, but the Ember Spirit is way too scary to deal with. And there it is. There's the buyback from Shadow Fiend. And the Radiant needs to get back right now. Looks like the Darkseer is caught. He's probably going to be okay because he's got that Surge. Quite a bit of damage going out of that Wraith King already. Also the Darkseer taking a lot of damage. Surge is ready. He's really low, but that's... Oh, he gets purged by the Diffusal Blade there. Wraith King losing his first life. Gyrocopter getting the BKB up. Kip caught a little bit out of position. He'll go down immediately to those. Actually looks like the Shadow Fiend went for a Daedalus there. So that's a lot of damage, additional damage for him. Like I said, he's still going to have to deal with things like evasion. Which could be potentially pretty deadly. So maybe after this Veil on the Disruptor, we'll see something like a Solar Crest or something like that. Still, just a Perseverance for the Tusk. No idea what that's going to be built into. And looks like Ember's just elected to go for a Scott. That's a pretty good item. I like it a lot, actually. It tanks him up, which is what he needs. The attributes certainly give him a lot of armor, a lot of HP, even a little bit more mana, which he needs, but also the ice does, the chilling effect does go onto the heroes and enemies that he's hit with his Sleight of Fist there, so it's going to be pretty good for slowing down enemy push, and just adding a little bit more tank overall.
Being snared.
A lot of damage there. Ember Spirit being really ballsy. It's 1v1. Crits grabbed and wow, Satanic popped and we have one little hit. Can you imagine if that would have crit for like 2,000 damage and he dies on the spot? Now they'll end up backing up. So it looks like as of right now, the Shadow Fiend still has the 1v1 advantage over that Ember. But that's just how Shadow Fiend works. Roche spawning in a little bit. Potentially in a little bit. That's the flashing ring there is the potential time. It could be anywhere in there. Yeah, Dazzle will go ahead and check, but he's not in there right now. 4k gold for the PL, saving up quite a bit We could potentially see him go something like after he's got that heart. There's quite a few items that he could go into, but we'll see what he chooses to do with it. Lion still working pretty hard to grab that Ags. Darkseer also 4,200 gold. Not sure what he's going to go for. Like I said, Ags is still a great option for him. Adds way more damage to his wall. I personally am a huge fan of the Darkseer Ags refresher. It just gives you so much more extra damage. The 2 vacuums, the 2 walls, even sometimes 2 surges can be really, really valuable there. It also looks like the Ember's going to be going for a second Daedalus here. He's sold his Keela and bought a Quelling Blade. That's pretty good if you want to be pushing, especially since it'll... the Battle Fury damage gets applied as well as the Quelling Blade. So the Quelling Blade makes you do extra damage to the creeps, and if you hit enemies inside the... like you hit enemies along with the creeps, they'll take extra damage due to the Battle Fury, right? It actually looks like the Radiant here is tired of the split pushing bullshit, and they've decided to try and set up a gank. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Ember... Well, actually, he's headed there right now. He does have his BKB. Or actually, no, he's going for a second Battle Fury. That's why I forgot about the Quelling Blade part of Battle Fury. Here it comes. They know he's there, but they can't see him right now. Actually, they can see him right now. They're ready. There goes the Lion, in with the stun. Stunned up. PL goes straight onto him. He's taking so much damage. BKB gets popped and he's out. Wow. So he sacrifices a BKB hit there, surviving only about 600 HP, and that's probably due to the Scotty right there. Saved him right there. When you include stuff like the armor, along with the HP that you get from it. And they'll check Roche. Looks like it's going to be about another 30 seconds. 30, 40 seconds there. But he's not quite up. They did pop a smoke for that. And actually now, with those past few fights, Ember's managed to grab the gold advantage over the Shadow Fiend by about 1,000 gold here. That's pretty big. Especially now with that second Battle Fury about to be coming online. He already does 920 crit damage to those creeps. I don't know, something I don't know is whether or not Battle Fury does increase your creep damage. It does. That's actually pretty important, especially when you're talking about fighting enemies in the middle of enemy creeps. So that could potentially increase his damage by a lot, especially if the damage from the Battle Fury stacks in terms of creep percentage damage. I'm not sure if it does, but if it does, that's a whole lot of extra damage. Yeah, there's 1,000 crit versus that creep with that second Battle Fury online now. And actually, Roche has spawned now. Nobody's spotted yet, but there's a regen rune bottom. Both sides have vision here. It's a matter of who sees it first. The next Roche could also be potentially pretty important. Doesn't look like the Shadow Fiend has much room for it, so it might not actually go the way of the Shadow Fiend this time. I'm imagining it's going to be PL, who looks like has saved a spot deliberately. And with the ultimate orb there, we're probably going to be seeing a Scotty on the Shadow Fiend as well. This next item he's going to build. That's pretty good as well. It's going to get him quite a bit more HP, which he also needs. And then, of course, just the slowing attack's also really, really valuable. And looks like the Radiant has gone ahead and spotted that Roshan with the Spirit in there. I wish I could check the vision, but I can't. It's broken. To see if they actually see it, because those spirits don't provide a whole lot of vision. It might be the case that it's just barely cut off, like right there, that they cannot see the Roche. Because it doesn't look like they've made a whole lot of movement towards the area. Although they are setting up wards, so perhaps they have seen it. Oh, here we go. PL's grabbing another item. Looks like a Basher. That's interesting. Probably not that great. I know that Basher used to affect illusions, and a sort of weird false bash mechanic, but I know for a fact that it does not affect that now. So, but they look like they've spotted the enemy going into Roche. It's just the Gyro for now, but they're definitely headed in there with the smoke. Gyro knows though, and he'll get stunned up right away. Kinetic Field only hits one. That goes in though. So does the wall. Disrupt rolls down on 2, but they're not taking a whole lot of damage. Wow, look at that damage from the Ember Spirit go in, and immediately the PL will drop. Along with the Shadow Fiend too, really low. Oh man, Disruptor falls on the sides, but so does the Wraith King, and Lion just barely does not get away, and that's a 5-for-1. All they lost was a Disruptor on that Radiant side. So up until now, it's been a really even game. Both sides farming pretty well, both sides, trading fights. But after that last one, it definitely looks like the Radiant has an advantage with that super farmed Ember. Alright, and once that T3 starts taking damage, immediately we see buybacks from both the PL and the Shadow Fiend there. But that tower's taking quite a bit of damage. There's quite a few creeps. Also buyback from the Lion. Looks like Lion TP's in here, but he blinks back onto high ground. And the Radiant side will mostly back away. Now, I don't think they're going to go on this Darkseer too hard. They don't want to push their luck. Yeah, that's a risky play going for that Darkseer, especially with the rest of the Dire team near.
Tower is under attack.
But they will skirmish with the Hex. Yeah, unfortunately for Lion, after that buyback, he was nowhere near his ads now. Looks like they actually did manage to grab a T3, which is denied. That's going to be pretty important for things like vision and stopping creep waves in the future. And the Radiant is right back into the Roach Pit. They just used a smoke on the Dire here, so I don't know if they're going to have another one available. I don't think I can check those. Well, maybe I might be able to check those. Actually, they do have 2 in stock for the Dire, but they don't have any on hand. And Roach will fall, go away the Gyro. There is the cheese, and Darkseer's going to grab that. And the Dire immediately backs up. They're on defense now. They have to play defense really hard. Wow, the damage there, along with the Scotty Slow doing quite a bit. Yeah, after the Orb of Venom being picked up by the Shadow Fiend, he's also definitely going for Scotty himself. And I don't know, I'm still wondering about this PL Basher pickup. I mean, it gets him a little bit of tank, and of course, if the actual PL is hitting it, wow, he almost one-shot the Lion there. If the actual PL is the one getting hits, it will, of course, have the Basher effect. But perhaps he's doing it more for the Abyssal Blade than he is for the actual Basher, which could be pretty good. They only have 1 hero with stuns on their team, or never mind, they do have 2 heroes with stuns. They've got the Wraith King stuns and the Lion stuns, but perhaps they need something that goes through BKB. Glimpse, unfortunately, does not catch anybody out of position. Neither does the Ice Shards there. Break King taking quite a bit of damage. Actually looks like he's probably going to go for either that Dezo or he's going to go for the BKB. Meanwhile, Arrow way out of position. He's going to get grabbed. No Aegis there. It's on the... well, he'll immediately TP back. Lion goes down. Shadow Fiend taking a lot of damage, but he gets graved up there. PL also super low. He'll drop as well. Wraith King still has his ult there. But man, Shadow Fiend will get away. That's the big one. And of course the Wraith King is going to go down. Dazzle Armor on everybody. And he'll also drop a meat. That's one of the first really good Dazzle Graves that we've seen all game. We saw another one bottom, I believe. But it wasn't too great, so... mostly because of the Disrupt ult, I believe. And Wraith King buying back here as well. They've got no buybacks on the PL, I don't think. Oh, no, they don't have buyback on the PL. They don't have buyback on the Shadow Fiend either, so if he goes down, that's going to be game. Tusk falling to the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend goes down, and that's definitely going to be GG. Yeah, there it is. GG call. And a really close first game. Goes to 61 minutes. Just take a look at this gold graph, guys. I mean, that doesn't look so intense compared to now, but it was up and down all game for an eventual Radiant victory. Honestly, that came down a lot to teamfight execution. Both teams farmed pretty well. Both teams positioned themselves pretty well. But in the end, the Radiant ended up taking those teamfights because, well, A, they just had better teamfight heroes, and also they played it a little bit better. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to come back for game 2. I believe this is a best of 3. And hopefully the next game or two will be just as good as the one we just watched.